So Brandi walks in with a couple of girls and they just jump in the shower. And it's a small shower. It's not like one of those huge places with the huge showers. It's a small shower with a sliding door, whatever, small tub. And and they just started lathering me up and laughing. And one of them went down and went going downtown, and the other one is kissing, and the other one is doing this, and then they're doing each other. Hello and welcome to another episode of Story Time. I'm your host, Freddie Shaban, and do I have a great one for you? So the year was 1992. Yes, I'm taking you way back. Back then, I was in the nightclub business. So I had owned one with two partners in San Diego. We had sold it a couple of years prior, and I was going balls to the walls, excuse my French, with the Tony Montana shit, which is me trying to be the biggest drug dealer ever. So the DEA was getting really hot on me. They've been hot on me since 1988 at that point. And it was getting so hot that in 1 month, I remember they tried to, this is in mid 1992, they tried to set me up 3 different times in 1 month for cocaine mainly, 2 kilos, 5 kilos, 8 kilos, whatever. And I was smart enough at the time that I realized what was going on. So I went and looked, and this is before the internet, in the newspaper, San Diego Union Tribune, for nightclubs for sale. I figured, I'll go see what's out there, buy me a nightclub, go and sit out somewhere, stay busy with that, and knock the other stuff out. Because I wasn't trying to go to prison. And back then, they started the minimum mandatory of, I think it was 10 or 20 years, depends on how much weight you had of cocaine. So risk versus reward, I'm like, no, I'm not about to go give them 10, 15 years of my life. So I'm not doing that. So I found this nightclub in a place called Richwest, California, which I had never heard of it in my whole life. And I couldn't even tell you if it's in California or God knows where else, right? So I come to find out it was a high desert place like Palm Springs and stuff like this. It's on the way to Mammoth and Big Bear where people go, snow skiing and stuff like this. So it's high desert. It gets really, really cold in the winter, really, really hot in the summer. So I went up there with, the gentleman's name was Dan. He was selling it. It was the only nightclub in town. There was no other nightclubs at the time. There was one strip club, but it was going out of business. Small, 55,000 people lived in that town, and they basically depended on China Lake, which is a military base for testing weapons. So there's a lot of engineers. So the median price when I did the demographics on what kind of people live there, it was 93% white. And the median income was mostly engineers. Out of the 55,000 people that actually lived there, were the engineers that made 60,000 or more, which was pretty good money back then. So I made a deal with Dan, bought the place. It was 5 acres sitting on a hill with a driveway going up to the nightclub, and it had palm trees on each side, and it was 15,000 square feet. The biggest part was the nightclub, and then it also had a full restaurant as well, with a full kitchen and the full walk-in freezer and refrigerator and everything you could imagine to do catering for like 200, 300, 500 people at a time. So the place was perfect. And what really sweetened the deal for me is that because of my situation, basically I wasn't on the lam, I wasn't wanted, but I was pretty much trying to get away from them, from the DEA and the feds and all the stuff. So it came with a 2-bedroom, like little house, right? It was really cute. It had an office. It had 2 bedrooms. It had 1 nice bathroom. And it was pretty good for one guy, It wasn't a Taj Mahal. It wasn't a mansion in Newport Beach on the coast. But for what I needed at that time, it was perfect. It came with a 2-car garage and everything else like that. So what I did was, since it was the only nightclub in town, every night I would have something else to provide entertainment for that town. So for example, Monday nights, I would do the rave parties. Back then, rave, techno, all the stuff. Tuesday, I brought different acts from different genres. So I would have comedy night one night, and I'll get 3 comedians from Igby's in Hollywood. They would send me. It was an agency. They would send me, 3 hot comedian, the middle act, and the up and comer, right? And sometimes I would have strippers, male strippers, which I knew a few guys that were out of San Diego. They had their own little group. And then sometimes I would work with Brandi, who I knew from San Diego, because I've used her before. And she had her own, it was called California Centerfolds. So she had her own stripping agency. Perfect. That was Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I would have, like bikini contest, best butt contest, best chest contest, best whatever, dance contest, all this stuff, right? So, and then Thursday and Friday was reserved for a couple of bands that were very well known in that town. One was rock and roll, one was alternative, and I would just alternate them. And then Sunday was pretty much, I ended up started closing on Sunday because there's a lot of, religious people and Mormons and stuff up there, and Sundays wasn't really working out. So I took that day off, and, I would go to San Diego, visit my mom, visit my girlfriend at the time. I'll come back Monday and do it all over again. Perfect. So that will bring us to the story today. I hope I did not bore you. I always like to give you the lay of the land, like to give you a background so you can have that imagination, that visual that will set up everything for you. So it was a Tuesday night. It was in January. I had just opened the club. I opened it on Halloween. I bought it on my birthday, which is October 1st, 1992. I was up there on my birthday and I had to remodel. So it took me about 30 days. And my goal was, my opening target date was Halloween, because you always want to open your nightclub on a big night, right? So start off with a bang. So fast forward, everything's going great. We're making good money. Everything is awesome, beautiful. I had used Brandi 3 or 4, times already. Now it's like January, February. I remember it was really snowing outside, very, very cold. And they would drive from LA. And at that time, she had like 8 strippers, and they would take most of the money. I'm telling you, I did not make maybe 1/4 of the money they made collectively, because they would take all the guys' the tips, and buying them drinks was fine because that was part of our money. But as far as like, who made more money, they made more money than the club itself. Of course, 8 of them. And Brandi was this tall blonde. She was gorgeous, like 6'2" without heels, just gorgeous, really beautiful body. She worked out. She just was perfect, beautiful, plump, breasts and everything. And she had a really good crew, some brunettes, some redheads, sometimes she'll bring an Asian, some Latin, just mix them up. Just, for everybody's taste, it was covered. So we had a great night that night. Everything was good. And they did the mud wrestling and the oil wrestling with the guys, and the wet t-shirt, and they did a bid on who wants to buy the t-shirt and all this stuff and all this fun stuff, right? They kept it. I had about maybe, I'd say about between 400 and 450 guys in there. It's pretty much everybody in town that liked strippers was in that place that night. So now it's around 2:00. We shut down, and some of the girls, including Brandi, they used to escort on the side. And back then I was not an escort agent. I had not gotten involved in the business. Of course, I had some run-ins with some clients in the nightclub in San Diego, but I had not been, privy of how much money I could make as an escort agent. I didn't have any interest because I was doing other things, right? I was trying to be Tony Montana, right? So not Howard Hughes, not Howard Hughes, Hugh Hefner, Howard Hughes. So they said, "Oh man, it's really snowing outside." I was like, "Yeah, it's dangerous. If you guys want to stay here, you can. I got a 2-bedroom place." And they used to know, because I used to let them use that place instead of the women's bathroom. I used to have them come in, or the break room. I used to have them come in, and some of them would come and change in my place, so it was no problem. They said, "Yeah, can we stay here?" "Sure. Yeah, we can just leave in the morning or whatever." I said, "Okay." Now the girls, the strippers, have been drinking all night, right? Everybody's buying them drinks, they're doing shots, and that's good for the club. So every time somebody bought them a shot, it was a certain amount. It was a little bit more than like $20 versus $7 or whatever. So they were lit, all of them. Now I'm doing my thing. It's around 3 o'clock, and they all pretty much butt naked. I walk in the back. I went and did what I had to do at the end of the night, closing procedure. Grabbed the till, the money and everything from the registers, and I had to count them and do all this stuff and put everything away in the safe and all that. And they're fucking around, excuse my French, and they're playing around and they're all over the place and they're jumping on the beds and, just being crazy, right? And fun. And so some of them were doing nose candy, I'm sure. I did not know. I did not supply it at all. I kept it really clean in my nightclub because I knew I was hot and I didn't like doing that anyways. I was never that type of guy that would just take an ounce and just put it on the table or a couple of ounces or whatever. I never did that, at least not in my place of business. I've done it in different situations, but not in a business I'm trying to protect and keep it legal. So they were feeling no pain. I walk in there and I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to go take a shower and stuff. I walk in the shower. I kid you not. Take my clothes off, stop. And they've been, flirting, of course, and grabbing your ass. And back then I was, of course, a lot younger. I was 29, in really good shape. And, had my abs and everything. So always tanned. And back then we used to use tan beds, right? And that was back in my bodybuilding days. I was still competing at the time. So I should have put one of the pictures what I looked like at that time. I think I have some. But anyway, so Brandi walks in with a couple of girls and they just jump in the shower. And it's a small shower. It's not like one of those huge places with the huge showers. It's a small shower with a sliding door, whatever, small tub. And they just started lathering me up and laughing. And, one of them went down and went going downtown. And the other one is kissing and the other one is doing this. And then they're doing each other. And we took that out from the shower. All butt naked, all the other girls are butt naked, and now we're wet, and now we're rolling around in the bed, and these girls are coming in and jumping, and it was like chaos. It was kind of like very sexy, but at the same time it was funny, right? So it's one of those things, but we got busy, don't get me wrong, and we kept getting busy for at least 2 hours. I don't know how long, but it was a long time for me. And so the next day they woke up and the little sleep they got, and I was still up, right? And then they just got in their cars and left, and everybody was like, we had a great time. But some of them were kind of embarrassed because of they went way overboard and they were doing things to each other, and you can only imagine. I'm only one guy, right? There's 8 of them, so come on, I'm not that kind of a stud, that much of a stud. I wish I was, but I wasn't. And so basically that's it, man. I thought about this and I just been wanting to share this with you. I know it's a little bit out of the escorting thing, even though these women did escort and some of them. So it's still around the same structure, if you will. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed another episode of Story Time. I'm your host, Freddie Shaban. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. That helps a lot. If you want to leave a comment, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I really, really need the subscribers. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.